Today we're going to be talking about a very special filmmaker, a legendary filmmaker, Satayajit Ray or Satayajit Ray, however you want to name it. And we're going to be talking about his classic film which he made in his later years called Ganashatru. Satayajit Ray was a pioneer of Indian cinema, a man who understood India and Indians inside out. India is a very funny country where politics, the cult of politics and religion has polluted almost every iota of society imaginable. So much so that delusion sets into people which colludes their thinking. I mean, even today when you pick up a newspaper, it feels like an assault on the senses. Don't even talk about television news. This is a story which explores the wackiness of India, and it translates into a story of betrayal and devastating abandonment. Ganashatru, which translates into Enemy of the People, is a film you could put on today and be shocked as to how little this country has changed for the common man by the common men of India. This is a story about a man who is pursuing the truth, fighting against his corrupt brother, and both of them are trying to seek audience with the people of this city who have also in a way been corrupted by their faith. The story follows Dr.Ashoke Gupta, played by Sumitra Chatterjee, Satayajit Ray's favorite actor, by the way. Like a good script, it does not waste any time. Literally, the first scene is him on a telephone complaining to the authorities that the cases of jaundice in his locality have been rising. Dr. Gupta sets out to find the source of where this disease is spreading from, and Lord and behold, he does find it. And where is it spreading from? Apparently, a pipe had burst in the water treatment system of a temple, a holy temple. The exploded pipe in the holy temple is the source of where the contamination stems from. And apparently that is the reason in the recent uptick of these cases of jaundice in the city of Calcutta. So now we have an excellent inciting incident, and we have our first turning point, that the temple is the source of this unclean water, and we're off from there. Satayajit Ray was a master at creating real people out of characters. These characters do not feel like characters. Every single person in this film portraying a character almost feels like a person you would run into in India. We got the bureaucratic asshole, we got the god man, we got the spineless bastard, and we got the old head who is still stuck in his old ways, aka boomers. It's all here, and the story almost writes itself. Dr. Gupta wants to publish his findings in the form of a paper in the local newspaper, but the moral police and the totally incorruptible politicians see this as a threat to their revenue. So obviously, the temple cannot be exposed no matter what. I don't have a lot to say about this film aside from the fact that it is a master at work. Satayajit Ray had directed Ganashatru in his later years, a few years before he passed away, and the age factor never shows through in the sophistication of the film. Not a single line of dialogue is wasted. The actors and locations they inhabit feel lived in, selling the fact that Dr. Ashoke Gupta is a sort of a folk hero or a little small town hero wherever he is. Satayajit Ray was never shy when it came to exhibiting or discussing the nature of Indian people. He also directed this film, as I said, during his final days, but boy was he efficient. The film takes place in 7 to 8 locations and mostly interiors. There's probably 1 or 2 scenes which take place outdoors. And the big conclusion of the scene is a debate scene. But to build tension into that, the simple techniques have been used. He just zooms in or dollies into a chandelier, and the unrest of the audience is shown through that chandelier breaking. Less is more, and it works surprisingly well. It's very effective. There's a really neat shot which looks like a split diopter. There's a really neat shot which looks like a split diopter shot, but I can't confirm whether it is a split diopter shot. Check this out. It could just be a wide lens, and it's nice to see actors acting. And it's nice to see actors acting together in a wide shot, showing up the scenery, having some business in the scene. The bad guy of the film pulls out a pipe in the foreground in this split diopter shot. It's pretty good stuff, man. Much better than the reverse shot we see in almost every single film nowadays. The actors are doing the heavy lifting in this film, but that's not to say that Satayajit Ray had lost his touch in his later years. This is, again, as I said, this is a master at work, and this film is also a part of the Criterion Collection, as is his Apu trilogy, which you should check out as well if you've liked this review so far. It's so sad how religious beliefs and political jingoism has taken over critical thinking in India. It's even sadder to see how little has changed since the time this movie came out. There's a wonderful scene near the end of a film where political trickery is shown at its finest, which is called shifting of the bench posts, or the goal posts, or the benchmark, whatever the expression is. The old head asshole brother of Ashoke Gupta comes up on stage to proclaim that only 500 people have died out of 15,000. That is political trickery at its finest. The human mind is an interesting thing, especially when you're not exposed to education and critical thinking. People will lap up that statement and agree with it completely, conveniently washing over 500 people. Think of that number again, 500. The system will first take away your free speech, then will discredit you, and then the same assholes who discredited you will show up at your doorstep and make you a proposition to get your reputation back. Thus is life in India. We accept terrible conditions. For some reason, we worship designations more than education. We put our faith in the first God-man we see. Credentials might be a thing of the past in the Western world, but credentials have never been a thing in the Eastern world, especially in India. You can wake up and decide to be a God-man and boom, the next day you're famous, man. We're also massive cowards when it comes to holding our superiors accountable, and I'm counting myself over here as well. It's just the system is such that any rebellion is crushed down with an iron fist. You as a citizen should question everything and everyone. It is because of our lack of morals that India and Indians are the laughingstock over the internet in this year 2025. Just open up Twitter and do a search for India. You'll find the answers for yourself. A lot of the stuff you read on the internet is true, even though all of it can't be trusted. Not all of it can't be wrong, fellas. When the system doesn't give a shit about you, in turn, you will stop giving a shit about your fellow man as well. And the results are evident in this beautiful film, Ganashatru. I suggest you watch it. When Ganashatru ended, I was reminded of a quote from one of my favorite video games of all time, Grand Theft Auto 4. And I couldn't take out Nico Bellic's closing quote in that video game. When Nico says, "So this is what the dream feels like. This is the victory we all longed for." Ganashatru is quite a mechanical film which presents the struggles of Indian people in the most simplest way possible. People talking in a room. It almost feels like a play at times. But the top-notch acting at the tight script strengthened the experience of this mechanical film. And I am giving this film a final rating of 4 out of 5 stars. You should definitely check this out when you have time. And if you're interested in learning a little bit about Indian cinema and one of the masters of Indian cinema, Satayajit Ray also has a museum in the city of Calcutta, which I think you should visit if you're ever in the city of Calcutta. I myself have never visited it, but I am suggesting that you do go see it. I will make my way down there one day. And for other Satayajit Ray films, you can check out Nayak and the Apu trilogy, as I mentioned earlier. I think I got a bit carried away over there. But that was the India of 1989. I'm pretty sure this country has changed by now, hasn't it? Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Please hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Do watch my review of Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree. It's pretty neat stuff over there. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.